Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Charles, lead guitar player for Audio Fiction, and you're watching channelapa.com.
Yes, by a series of errors, really. We'd put out some ads in the paper backstage and used MySpace and found the guys pretty much sort of old school way, trolling through Craigslist ads and whatnot. Got together in a studio here in Midtown and just trashed it out. As soon as Charles came in, it was a no-brainer that he was going to be playing guitar in this band.
I actually remember auditioning.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
I remember we went to your previous guitarist's basement and went into a very small room and turned up the amp all the way and just started playing to a track that you guys had we were working on. So I just remember the look on your face was pretty priceless.
Yeah, it was, no, because we were amazed. Up to that point, we were just like strumming guitars, and then this guy comes in and knocks it out of the ball court, and it was pretty amazing to watch. So it was. Then we found Christine, our lead singer, pretty much the same way, and then Darren came in and had the same vibe. I knew as soon as I saw him playing. He's our bassist. Just a great energy about him on stage, and that's what the two guys bring in the band when we play live with Christine. Just that great upfront energy. So I'm stuck on a drum stool behind, just watching them. I'd love to be able to say, come up with a great story. I think I need a great story in that. In all reality, it was like looking for names of a band, and so what does one do when you're looking for names? Well, you look for inspiration, and we were a little lazy and ended up in a bookstore, trying to see if we could find names that might have been interesting. And one of us was there between the audio section and the fiction section, and we came up with a lame idea to combine the two. That said, though, I think it's still catchy. I mean, people think, it's a name you can remember, audio fiction, as opposed to...
Yeah, it's like Coldplay, Radiohead.
Yeah, I wish.
Well, I think that's actually one of the things that makes us, kind of sets us apart a little bit more. Each person in the band brings something different. My influences are a little bit more on the sort of hard rock side. Whether it's Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Stevie Ray Vaughan even. It's obviously a very guitar focused, yeah, and just loving the emotion behind playing guitar and playing hard and aggressive. Whereas Darren, on the other hand, in my opinion, he's a little bit more of an indie flavor. So he likes bands that offer different types of, outside of the mainstream form, but still, is really cool to listen to. Christine has obviously her influences, and Mark has his influences, but I think what really makes us interesting is you take all of these different inspirations and you get an amalgamation that, kind of, it's unique, and it's very versatile too. When you listen to the album, it's not just one sound. It's a really well diversified, kind of. There's something on there for pretty much anybody, and I also think that collectively it really offers a lot as well. So
I like to akin it to essentially with all of those different disparate influences, we audio fictionalize. That's we come and meet in the middle somewhere and mash out.
You weren't supposed to use that.
Was I not?
No.
I like that term. Like this. Joycey and I came up with it. It makes no sense at all. Well, I think, obviously stylistically and musically, all of those influences are a little different. So with certain bands, I don't know, I guess if you go and see a certain band play that you haven't heard before, there's sometimes a tendency that it all sounds the same and nothing sticks out. So at the end of the set, you'd say, hey, what song did you like? And you might say, oh, the last one, because it's the one you remember the most, or maybe the first one. I think at an audio fiction gig, and we kind of road tested this theory out. You can ask people after that you don't know, they come up to say hello or sign a CD. What did you think, of the set? And they're either able to name the song in the set, not having seen us before, or they can point out the third song in and the fourth song and some other song. So certainly musically we seem to be doing something right in the mix there, I guess.
I'd say one of the musically, it's kind of as I was saying before. There's a lot of variety on the album. And I think the arrangements really lend itself to make it interesting, so that it's not just kind of repetitive. There's a lot of thought that goes behind how to arrange the song to make it interesting. I think as far from a guitar standpoint, when I'm playing, there's actually a couple of different methods that I go through. There's just the pure energy side of it. So on our Ever Wonder track, for example, it was never meant to be the actual lead track for the song, but I was just loving being in that space, the sound that I was getting from my amp, and the feel, the energy that was coming through me. So it was a really kind of organic and natural approach. But at the same time, with a song like Race the Hourglass, it was a bit more of a premeditated thought of what the line should be, of what the lead should be. So I think a lot of the phrasing that goes on, a lot of the arrangement that goes on in the music that you hear, the variety of the type of music, it's an intelligent way as well as an inspirational way of creating music. So I think that's a big factor that differentiates us. The other side of it is from a live perspective. I think I've seen a ton of live bands play before, and that's where I get my sort of high from playing is being on stage, connecting with the people in the audience, and really kind of feeding off of that energy. Bands that go on before us and after us, they're great. They're great musicians. But I think one of the things that what we do a little bit differently is really bring a lot of energy to a show.
Yeah. That sort of came out. Our Darren, our bassist, is a huge rock band fan, and said, "Hey, you'll never guess, but Harmonix and MTV are coming out with this rock band network where bands and labels can get to author their own tracks and put them on Rock Band." And it seemed like a great idea. I can certainly understand the business side of things from Harmonix's point of view. But what happened was it took a very long time to get that going, but Darren got right on it, and he's a real genius, whiz at technology, and figured it out, and made these amazing charts for Race the Hourglass is the song that we have on there, that really stood apart from some of the other tracks that got up there. So we actually made the debut launch last week. There were about, 112 songs I think were on the official launch, and it got us a lot of press. But what was kind of cool is I was in a bar and somebody had mentioned, "Oh, that guy's band just went on Rock Band's network," and people were lining up to talk to us like we were like U2. It was kind of. I had no idea how popular this game was. I've yet to play it myself with our song, but
there's a sense of kind of it almost makes us a legitimate band.
Yeah,
in a sense,
yeah.
Because it's no longer a struggling independent band trying to break through. This is an extremely open medium, right? And to be one of the first independent bands out there on a very wide scale, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So when I think about it, when I actually tell people that we've actually got a song on Xbox 360 that you can play, being a player of an Xbox 360 Rock Band player, it's an incredible.
Cool.
It's really cool.
Well, you know what it is? It really levels the playing field for bands our size versus, say, the big label acts, which have a lot of money, and traditionally you either had the money and the marketing and the big label behind you to do well. With the advent of Apple's iTunes and digital distribution, where a lot of folks unfortunately buy their records today, it actually benefits bands like us. Sure, the quality's not as good on an MP3 as it would be on an album, but nevertheless, it's sort of between the Rock Band now and where we're seeing people downloading that, and now they'll go, "Hey, who is this band Audio Fiction?" And then they're getting on iTunes or Amazon or CD Baby and buying the album there as well. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like cross-marketing.